Hallelujah, amigos. All aboard. It's time for lift off, baby. Come on, let's go.
5, 4,
3, come on. You know the rest.
1.
You got this. We got this.
Ignition. Lift off.
Come on.
Lift off.
We're going to have some fun today. We're going to learn some English. We're going to laugh. And we're going to share. Here we go. Get ready. Hold on to your hat. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat. And get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no on Vaughn Radio. Lift off. All right. Welcome, amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. What a great show we've got for you today. I was just listening to today's Name That Lyric, and I got all choked up. Me emocioné. So, and I was rocking out. It's not a ballad. It's a rock song. But it reminded me of a time and place of my youth. So I just got choked up a minute before I started doing the show. To get choked up means to emocionarte. Yeah, I even teared up. Me salieron hasta 3 lágrimas. Good tears. Remembering, high school, really. It's amazing how, we say we haven't invented time travel yet. Oh, yeah? Why don't you play a song that you listened to in high school? See what happens. You go way back and instantly, you snap your fingers and there you are back in 1992, chatting with your friends. No real responsibility. Remember those days? A little reminiscing, a little taking a trip down memory lane, amigos. Welcome. I see many people are starting to join us in the live chat. You can participate live, but if you can't, don't worry, don't fret. Guitarristas, la palabra fret también significa preocuparse. Don't fret, folks. You can listen to all our programs wherever you listen to podcasts. And folks, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow is when we take a look at our question of the week. Question of the week. ¿Quieres estar al tanto de todas nuestras promociones en la Vaughan Esfera? Well, now you can be in the loop. Puedes estar al tanto. Puedes enterarte de ofertas, novedades y eventos. Y mucho más. Puedes encontrar todo eso en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Eso es, en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Ahí tendrás toda la información de última hora. Guárdalo como favorito. grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. And stay in the loop. Yeah, make sure you're following us on social media. Also, if you're looking for courses, we've got everything under the sun, from a whole week immersed in English with our Vaughn Town, or a weekend with our Weekend Town. You've got master's programs, online courses, video conference classes, group classes, and all you can even imagine as far as English learning is concerned. And we've got resources too. You can go to vaughntienda.com and you can pick up one of our amazing materials. Remember, I have 5 different books that I've penned or co-penned, to co-write, to co-author. And those are just 5 among a plethora of amazing English materials. They all come with audio, and we'll be taking a look at one today from Inglés para Viajar. But first, a nice round of applause for who? Well, for Anix, for Kubla, for Chris Valrol. Why? Well, because they rock. Do you need a reason? Oh, but there is a reason, specific reason for this one. They have participated in our question of the week. What are you waiting for, amigos? If you want to participate, tell us what you daydream about. Soñar despierto. To fantasize. You know, what would you, a lot of times, if you think about it, it's like this. What would you rather be doing? Where would you rather be than where you are? Because usually when you're daydreaming, you're in a mundane or dull is aburrido, another way of saying boring situation, and your mind starts to wander. So, my amigos, what do you daydream about? If you can tell us that in around a minute, you can send me a voice note from your phone. I'm sure all of you know how to do that, regardless of your age. Send me a voice note. You can send it to my email address. It's aalonso@grupovon.com. You have till the end of the day every Thursday because we do the section on Fridays. So we're going to hear from a few students already, and we'd love to hear from you as well. This is an opportunity for you to speak every week in English, you know, and consistency is important. Having an opportunity to speak is important. That's the biggest gripe. La palabra gripe no es gripe, aunque se escribe igual. La queja número 1. Yeah, people say, I don't have a chance to speak. Well, yes, you do on our question of the week. And now, folks, we're going to go on a trip. We're going to take a look at Inglés para Viajar in our pop quiz. Come on. All aboard. Quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. All right, folks, who is ready for summer vacation? Or as we say, you say vacas, right? Like the word cows in Spanish. Well, in English, we say vacay. Para que veas. No se pronuncia vacation. The biggest mistake is I hear people say, I'm going on vacation. First, it's the, right? But then it's not va, it's vacation. Y el corto es V-A-Y-C-A-Y. Hey, if you want to practice it, this isn't the pop quiz, but you can include it in your pop quiz. Tell us where you're going on vacay. I imagine a lot of you are starting to nail down, to fijar, to nail down some plans because, well, the summer is approaching. And there's nothing better than materials, English materials, because in the summer, you have a little more spare time. And what better way to prepare for your trip to London or to the United States than learning some English, brushing up on some English that you'll need when you travel. Thus, the material Inglés para Viajar. Everybody pay attention, and then afterwards, I'll have a challenge for you as always. Now, let me see. Where is the Inglés para Viajar? Oops, guys, I'm noticing I don't have it here. I think I made a mistake when I was. All right. Well, you know what? No problem, folks. The show must go on. I'll get it. I'll have it for you for the second part. But I'll tell you what we can do now because, as I said, the show must go on. I must have made a mistake when I was putting the sound effects into my soundboard. So sorry about that. My bad. But no problem. We'll take a look at that afterwards. Right now, what we can do, because this I do have, it's our Say What soundbite. Say what? What? All right, folks. Sorry about that. Please forgive me. Perdonadme. I don't know. I must have, I don't know what I did. But again, I'll fix it. And in the meantime, we're going to take a look at our Say What soundbite. As always, you're going to hear a celebrity speaking. And what you have to do is tell me what you heard in your best English. I also urge you, whatever you write to us, so if you write it down, I urge you to say whatever you wrote aloud. Because that's what we're trying to do, right? I mean, do you want to practice your writing or your speaking? Both. But what's more important? Speaking, right? So whatever you write, really, that's the final step. What you've got to do is be ready not just to write it, to give us your opinion in written English, but also to be able to say what you've written. Don't forget that part because it's such an important element when we are learning a language. The most, I mean, it's the other side of the equation. If you break down communication to its least common denominator, it's understanding and being understood. That's it. So that's speaking, and you can use body language too, communicating and receiving communications, right? So it boils down to that when you strip aside all the verb tenses and all that jazz. All right, here's your Say What soundbite for the first time.
You know, it's like a weird marriage when you're in a band. You know, there's sometimes when you hate each other's guts and you can't be in the same room together, and other times when you're on stage when it all makes sense and it's like, oh, this is why we do this.
¿Conoces Weekend Town? La nueva iniciativa de Vaughan.
Pues no.
Es un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés y es nuevísimo.
A ver, cuéntame más.
Tendrás una inmersión lingüística total durante 2 días. Un total de 24 horas hablando con angloparlantes de todo el mundo.
¡Wow! ¡Qué interesante!
Ganarás confianza y soltura a la hora de comunicarte en inglés. Mejorarás tu comprensión auditiva y tus habilidades conversacionales en una situación de comunicación real en inglés. Ven a Weekend Town y te sorprenderás con todo lo que puede avanzar tu inglés en un fin de semana. Weekend Town de Vaughan. Un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. More information about Weekend Town over at grupovon.com/cursos destacados. You can find out about our urban camps, our summer camps, and all that jazz. And folks, if you've never taken a class with us, you can get a sample class. You can get a free level test. Just contact us. You can contact us via the website where it says contact us, or you can drop us a line via social media. or call us 911-385831. Again, 911-385831, or stop by in person. That's the best way. We can give you a level test and a free evaluation or consultation, whatever you want to call it. All right, now let's see who's with us in our chat room. I see we've got a lot of students checking in who are ready to rock and roll. They're ready for any challenge that comes their way. The first person who joined us today is Born to Iron Man. Good morning to you, sir. Great to have you on board as always. There's Tudani. Tudani says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Tudani. Always wonderful to have your energy here with us. And you have been doing an awesome job lately. Just ask your fellow students. It's not just me who notices it. So keep up the good work. That's all I can say. Wonderful, Tudani. Let's see. There's David. David is always ready. He's always here bright and early and with bells on. Con muchísimas ganas. And David says, good morning, Alberto and mates. Good morning to you, David. How's it going, bruh? It's funny because I hear the Spanish kids, the young teenagers, not the people my age. If you're saying this at my age, you've got a problem. Bro. In fact, you guys, you want to hear something funny? You're going to crack up. My daughter the other day, and she's done it several times now, calls me bro. Yeah, she's like, bro. I'm like, I'm not your bro. I'm your dad. Oh, my God. And she's 4 years old, guys. She calls me bro. Well, it's kind of funny because the young guys here say bro, como una O. Pero si buscas la palabra B-R-U-H, es realmente como lo decimos, al menos en Estados Unidos. Hey, bruh. Right? So it's not even bro. And in California, they say it like that, too. They say, hey, brah. It sounds like bra in California. They say it like sujetador, right? My bra got a bra. Oh, man. A lot of different accents. Well, hey, the United States is a huge country. And it would be foolish to think that we all speak the same. I mean, I know a lot of people who, speak like this. I was just thinking about it the other day. I was working down in Disney World, down in Orlando, Florida. I mean, that's the South. You know what I mean? And it was such an interesting experience, not just because I was working for Disney, but it was also an interesting experience because, I had come from working in New York. I was living in New York City. So I was dealing with a lot of fast talkers, a lot of city slickers, as we call them. A city slicker is somebody from the city. And when I went down there to work, everybody I met was I'm from Indiana. I'm from Kentucky. I'm from even further south than here. So it was kind of interesting because even though I was in my country, the United States of America, the U.S. of A., yet God bless America, or as we say in the South, Merca. You know that one? Busca esta también. So, busca M-U-R-I-C-A. America. This is America. This is America. So, it was an experience. I got to work with a friend of mine. I'll never forget. I thought about him the other day. His name, he gave himself the nickname Redneck Brian. Okay, Brian El Paleto. But he was, there were a lot of people who were from Florida, from that area. And they were a little bit rednecky. And that's cool. I'm not saying it like it's something bad. I made some awesome friends down there. But Brian beat them all. Redneck Brian was like, man, I'm from Kentucky. All right. I'm really from the South, Kentucky. And it was an interesting experience. But what am I saying? I was not in my country. Yes, I was in my country. But if you listen to the sounds, you heard people's life experience, what they talked about, their topics of conversation, it was totally different. Very interesting. But that happens even in Spain. You know, a country as small as Spain. Very different vibes, very different sounds, even very different smells. Remember, we experience language through the 5 senses. Cool. All right, let's see who else is on board with us. There's Chris Valrol, and she says, morning, dear show with no namers. We rock, pun intended. Of course, you know me, Chris, and you caught me. Always playing with words. Hey, you don't have to be witty. In fact, it's hard to be witty. Ingenuoso, you say? But you can try. I like to try, you know. I think of it with my wife. Like, I would say out of every 5 puns that I try and come up with in Spanish, she laughs at 1. But it's okay. I'm cool with it. I'm just trying my material on her. Like a stand-up comedian. All right, let's see who else is on board and ready to rock. There's Laura. Welcome back, Laura. What a triumphant return yesterday. Wow. She came back hard. Right? As the expression says in English, go hard or go home. O vienes a darle duro, o te vas a casa. Go hard or go home. And I think Laura has definitely Laura lives by that philosophy. And she says, good morning, lovely show with no namers. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Vamos a despertar. Rise and shine. I heard a singer. Oh, she's talking about our Say What soundbite. She says, I heard a singer or a musician comparing being in a band with being in a weird marriage. Sometimes you get along, and sometimes you don't. Perfect, Laura. I couldn't have said it better myself. Honestly. All right, let's see. Chris Valrol. She says, I heard a guy who could be a musician. That's correct. And I want you guys to focus on how I'm saying that word, because I've heard the word mispronounced so many times. It's not musician, it's musician. ¿Conocéis el grupo Muse? Pues ahí lo tienes. Musician, musician, musician. Dilo conmigo, por favor. Musician. The reason I'm saying it is because if I had a nickel for every time I've heard that mispronounced, I'd be rich. A nickel, 5 céntimos. So musician. I heard a guy who could be a musician. You're absolutely right, because he mentions something about being on stage. I couldn't get the gist of it, but you got a totally native for that expression, el hilo, la idea principal. But he talks about a weird marriage. Well, yeah, you got it. You're on the right track, Chris. Don't second guess yourself. No dudes de ti mismo. And then she wraps up saying, maybe he's alluding to his group members. Chris, you say you didn't get it. You didn't get the gist of it. I say you got it loud and clear. So great job, Laura, Chris Valrol, and everybody who's participating. What we're going to do right now, amigos, is take our first commercial break. I can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun. When we come back, as I said today, we're going to do things a little bit out of order. I'll have the pop quiz ready for you. So we'll do our pop quiz. We'll listen to our Say What soundbite again as well. We've got our spelling bee. We've still got all our sections to do, and we still only have a little under 2 hours to get it done. And the great news, when this show ends, you've got a plethora of amazing programs here on Vaughn Radio. Right after today's show, you can learn with Ximena and Nacho in Test Your English. Then you've got the Lunchtime Show with Rob and Andy. After that, you can Speak Up with Ruby. Then you can get random with Jules Linares. You can have a salad with Dave Boys. Then Drive Time with Kyle Miller. Frankly Speaking with Chris Frank. The Pro Bow Show with Rob Grams. Richard Vaughn Live. Fitz's program, No Excuses. And on the weekends, The Hour to Empower with Jessica. Download the app and learn with us on the go. Stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's show with no name here on Vaughn Radio, where English is exciting. It's interactive. It's informative. You'll learn about so many other things aside from English. I don't know too many people who know as much about history as Richard Vaughn. I don't know too many people who know as much about pop culture, geek culture, movies, music, than Rob Grams. I don't know too many people who have as much business experience as Kyle Miller. He has a lot of teaching experience, but he's also opened and run so many different businesses throughout his life, as well as having an MBA. So I like to think of it as a place where you can learn so much more than just English. It's Vaughn Radio, it's free, and it's here every day for you. The only thing we ask, if you love it, if you're learning, let the world know. Shout it out from the mountaintops. All right, amigos, we're going to listen to our Say What soundbite for the second time. We'll start off with that. All right, amigos, is everybody ready? Here's your Say What soundbite for the second time. And as I said, the ladies are on point. Wonderful observations.
It's like a weird marriage when you're in a band. There's sometimes when you hate each other's guts and you can't be in the same room together, and other times when you're on stage when it all makes sense and say, oh, this is why we do this.
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend Because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mhm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah, wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damián, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the Shit. This Book is the Shit. My latest book available at vaughantienda.com. All right, now we are going on that vacay I was telling you about. Everybody listen carefully, and afterwards I'll have a challenge or two for you.
Cambios de hora en inglés. Put your time telling to the test. Eduardo has a buffet dinner at the hotel from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Chicago time, or from 3 to 4 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to watch a film in the room from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Chicago time, or from 5 to 7 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to go to bed at 12:30 a.m. Chicago time, or 7:30 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to wake up at 9 a.m. Chicago time, or 4 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to have breakfast in the hotel from 10 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Chicago time, or from 5 to 5:45 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to meet his colleagues from the Chicago team from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Chicago time, or from 6:30 to 8 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to have lunch with his colleagues from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Chicago time, or from 8 to 9 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to explore downtown Chicago from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Chicago time, or from 9 to 12 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to rest at the hotel from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Chicago time, or from 12 to 2 Madrid time. Eduardo is going to have a buffet dinner at the hotel from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Chicago time, or from 2 to 3 Madrid time. Travel conversation. Describing your surroundings. Hey, Eduardo! Fantastic to finally meet you. How's everything in Chicago? Are you enjoying it?
Well, I've only been here for one day, and I've got a bit of jet lag. But yes, it's a beautiful city.
That's great. Yeah, Chicago's really beautiful. We think it's one of the most beautiful cities in the country. It's more beautiful than New York. It's more beautiful than Los Angeles. Well, anyway, what do you want to do while you're here?
Well, I was thinking about going to the downtown area after our meeting.
That's a fantastic idea. Downtown Chicago is gorgeous. Well, nicer than here anyway. You've got to see the lake. It's out of this world. And you're lucky because it isn't too windy out today.
Yes, I hear it's usually much windier here at this time of year.
You have no idea, buddy.
Well, would you like to start the meeting? I've got lots of interesting things to tell you about business in Madrid.
Good idea. Then maybe after we can get some lunch. What do you think about one of our famous deep dish Chicago pizzas? I'll take you to the most famous place in Chicago.
That sounds great, Alan.
Awesome. Let me take you to meet the rest of the team.
All right, there you go, folks. All right, well, life is numbers. Like it or not, you are a number, right? You have your social security number, you have your DNA. We are numbers, and like them or not, they're used all the time, even in things that have nothing to do with numbers. And we've got a lot of idiomatic expressions that have to do with numbers. And today, that's what I wanted to take a look at. Since we were looking at some telling time, which is very important to know how to tell time, or if somebody asks you, what time is it, to be able to tell them, it's 4:30 or 4:30, right? But be careful. I've heard a lot of mistakes. It seems like something basic, but I've heard many students stumble when telling time. All right, let's see if you guys know these idiomatic expressions, and you got to use them in context as always. I'm going to give you 3, and the first one is, if you are dressed very formally, very snazzy, you're looking sharp. Do you know these adjectives I just said? If you don't know them, then you didn't listen to the FYI episode on fashion. Yeah, well, I went over this one. I think it's even in the intro. I was saying that the other day to a student. I said, even if you don't listen to the whole FYI episode, which I urge you to, there's a lot of vocabulary every week, but just in the intro, you'll come across maybe anywhere from 10 to 20 different vocabulary words, adjectives, verbs, nouns, and even idiomatic expressions. So let's say one week, you don't have enough time to listen to the episode. Just listen to the intro, and you can read it so you can learn those words every week. And that's a way to make sure you're learning at least 10 words or idiomatic expressions every week, aside from all the stuff we learn every day here on Vaughn Radio, not just on this show. So a way of saying vestido muy formal, muy elegante. The word I used before is snazzy. You look snazzy. You look sharp. That's another way to say it too. Sharp, snazzy. The British say smart, que también es listo, and sharp is espabilado. So what are we seeing? There's a parallel between looking good and being known as sharp, ¿no? Inteligente, listo, también es smart. But there's an expression that has a number in it, a very common idiomatic expression. The second one, there are 2 that come to mind here. You can give me both if you know them. And this is when you are just feeling great. You couldn't be better. Estás en la gloria. This is when you're doing what you're daydreaming about. Speaking of our question of the week, right? This is when you're actually doing it. Estás en la gloria. So for me, when I'm snowboarding, which I can't do anymore, but when I'm, plane spotting, or when I'm on a roller coaster, or, anything like that, everybody's got their own. So that is 2 different ways. If you know them, you can just give me one, either way, of saying that you couldn't be in a better situation. Okay? Como se dice, it's as good as it gets. ¿Conocéis esa frase? Es una película. It's a movie with Jack Nicholson and a little doggy. Now you know it. You say mejor imposible. We say as good as it gets. Es lo mismo. It's a perfect translation. All right, so that is number 2 in today's pop quiz. And number 3, and all of these are going to have something in common. They have a number in them, is to do something at the last minute. This is usually used when somebody is a procrastinator or they put things off. Okay? So 3 idiomatic expressions, 4 if you give me 2 in the second one. One is to be very formally dressed. The second one is to be living the life in a great situation, really happy, really fulfilled. And the last one is to do something at the last minute, to put it off. All right, amigos, that is your pop quiz. We'll take a look at those. I'll give you some time to think them through. And what we'll do, just to make up some time over here, is we'll kick off our spelling bee.
Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee. Spelling bee.
That's right, amigos. It is our spelling bee. And don't forget, I was just telling you about the fashion episode of FYI this week. This is every Friday, as you know. You have access to a new episode. And this week, it's one that hate him or love him, or para usar el double alliteration, love him or loathe him, o le quieres o le detestas. But one thing's for sure, he's an interesting individual.
The Democrats said, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals. Nancy Pelosi told me that. She said, please don't use the word animal, sir, when you're talking about these people. I said, I'll use the word animal because that's what they are.
This lively loudmouth is loved by many and loathed by lots of others who suffer from TDS. When he's perched upon the pulpit preaching his populism, he polarizes people all over the place, from Alabama to Almanza. But one thing is for sure, the mainstream media mentions him almost daily due to his sassy sound bites and his often controversial takes.
You are fake news.
He's a boisterous businessman, pesky politician, and a raucous reality TV star to boot. We'll take a look at Donald Trump on this week's episode of FYI. Welcome to For Your Info.
Inglés.
You got it. Yeah, very interesting episode that drops tomorrow. Well, I got a little secret. You guys want a secret as show with no namers? In my community, you have access to it the day before. Yeah, that's true. So right now, there's a link, and it's available to everybody, and it's in my community. So just a little, if you can't wait till Friday, there's a little trick for you. You can get it on Thursday. I love these little tricks. All right, let's see. Before we kick off our spelling bee, let's see if anybody figured out the three idiomatic, or really I should say 4 idiomatic expressions that I wanted to highlight in our pop quiz today. Let's see. We've got Chris Valrol. She says, I dressed to the nines to attend my friend's wedding. Absolutely. Woo! To dress to the nines. Yeah. Great one, Chris. To dress to the nines means to dress very smart, snazzy, formal. Excellent. Number 2, she says, I feel on cloud 9 when I'm listening to the show. Excellent. The only thing is, let's simplify it. I'm on cloud 9. Directamente. To be on cloud 9. No hay que usar ni el feel. I'm on cloud 9 when I'm listening to the show. Great example. And thank you, Chris. You just made me smile. And she says, sorry, I forgot the third one. This is why I repeat them, but no worries, no worries. Laura looks like she's got them. Laura says she always dresses to the nine. Just be careful, Laura. It's nines with an S, okay? She always dresses to the nines when she has an event. Great. Just missing that S over there. Number 2, she made up with her boyfriend. Ooh, hacer las paces. We looked at it yesterday. And she's on cloud 9 now. Excellent. And guys, it's really important. It's not in cloud 9. It's to be on cloud 9. So you say en la gloria, no? Well, in heaven. Cloud, estoy en la nube, right? And Laura says, I don't know the third expression. All right. Chris says, 9-second memory. I made it up. I like it, but no. Let's see. Turani. Turani's taking a stab at it. Turani says, I was dressed up to the nines. It's weird with up. I don't think it's wrong, Turani, but it's not necessary. Como es frase hecha, I was dressed to the nines on my graduation ceremony. The only thing, too, I would change on to at, right? Cuando es un acontecimiento. I was dressed to the nines at my graduation ceremony. Awesome. Very cool. Number 2, I be happy as a clam. No, I was, right, in pasado. I was as happy as a clam on my honeymoon. Excellent. To be as happy as a clam, or I was tickled pink. Now, these don't have numbers in them, but I'm going to give them to you, Turani. Of course, I'm going to give them to you. So, she says, he, Turani, they say, it doesn't matter, but I forgot. Well, either way, I was as happy as a clam. Great expression. Tan contento como una almeja. And also to be tickled pink. Encantado. And it means very, very happy. All right, but no numbers in that one. And the last one, I arrived in the nick of time to the train. I'll give it to you, but there's no numbers in it. All right. Well, folks, the first one, as you guys got, dressed to the nines. The second one is to be on cloud 9 or to be in seventh heaven. Nadie me ha dado ese segundo. De hecho, Seventh Heaven es el nombre de una serie. It's I think it was a series that was in the 90s, perhaps. I may be wrong with the year there, but I'm pretty sure. I've never seen it, but I remember seeing the advertising when I lived in New York. Seventh Heaven. So, to be, y ojo otra vez, muy importante las preposiciones porque cambian, son diferentes. So, I'm in seventh heaven. I'm on cloud 9. The mistake I've heard when students have tried to use it, they would say, I'm in the seventh heaven. No usa artículo. So I'm in seventh heaven. That's why it's always good to write them down and then to say them so you know how it sounds too. So to be in seventh heaven, to be on cloud 9, and the last one, nobody got. All right, well, the last one is to do something at the 11th hour, folks. That's right. At the 11th hour is to do something too late, way too late. You put it off. You procrastinated for way too long. And, well, you put it off and you did it at the 11th hour. En la hora 11. Wonderful job in our pop quiz. Excellent. And if I'm not mistaken, let me look this up here. I'm pretty sure there's a movie with Ed Norton called 11th Hour. Ed Norton. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, no, it's called the 25th Hour. Oops. Well, 11th Hour And again, really important. Did you notice that? We used all three of these prepositions, in, on, and at. So I'm in seventh heaven. I'm on cloud 9. And I did it at the 11th hour. All right, speaking of the 11th hour, I'm going to give you your spelling bee right now. Here is round 1. We're going to do it at the buzzer because we have to go to a commercial break momentarily. I am going to fly through this, so good luck, amigos. If you're able to get it, you are definitely a superstar. Let's capitalize the first letter of each word. Here we go. The first one is MV space SUMMIT space VENTURE. The second one is LIBERIAN space FREIGHTER. The third one is SUNSHINE space SKYWAY space BRIDGE. The fourth one is TAMPA space BAY. The fifth one is GREYHOUND space BUS. And the last one is OSHIMA space SHIPBUILDING. I need oxygen. Send oxygen tanks, please. Whoa, if you got that, you are definitely in the big leagues. In Primera. All right, folks, we'll be right back with the second half of today's show. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't even think of going anywhere. Stick around. Hello, amigos. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's time for the second half of today's show. Part 3, call it what you will. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to take a look at some homophones or not. You tell me. We've also got to listen to our Say What soundbite a third and a fourth time. We've got round 2 of our spelling bee, which let me take a look over here and see if anybody seems to have gotten it. Oh my God. I think we might have 2 winners here. Are you freaking serious? Wow. Wow. I'm speechless. Well, we're going to check that closely in just a moment. But after we do our spelling bee, round 2 of our spelling bee, we've also got Name That Movie. We've got Name That Lyric. Those are 2 sections where we learn English from pop culture. And I think that's so important. Why? Because that's how I learned Spanish. I mean, I'm the proof. Immersing yourself in the culture, in the language, in the movies, in the food, and everything, you'll start to get the language too, as a byproduct. What am I saying? Don't learn English. Live English. Breathe English. All right, I'm being a little bit getting into my cereal box philosophy over there. But it's true, though. It's true. All right, amigos, let's take a look at some tricky words in Homophones on the Show with No Name. Homophones on the Show with No Name. It's homophones time, because homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the Show with No Name. The Show with No Name. Homophones on the Show with No Name. Because homophones time, because homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the Show with No Name. 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 Show with No Name. That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the Show with No Name. And we'll see if you recognize these words firstly, and then we'll see secondly if you know if they sound exactly the same or not. Let's take a look. The first word is a comparative. What is that? It's a word that is more than. So what's the general rule with comparatives? Real simple. In a comparative, usually, now there are exceptions. That's the problem. That's why it's not so simple. I said simple, but there are many exceptions. And usually, if a word has less than 3 syllables, so a word like rich, okay, an adjective, I should say. Well, if we're going to make it comparative, it would be ER plus than. So let's give an example as always. Richard is richer than her. No, Richard, Vaughn, or whoever, is richer than her. The superlative. He's the richest guy I know. Okay, he's the richest. So that's the superlative, the comparative and the superlative. Now, if it's got more, so maybe let's take interesting, right? Interesting, which interesting, you say it in 4 syllables, we say it in 3. We say interesting, interesting. ¿Ves? Nos comemos una ahí. Interesting. But you wouldn't say interestinger or the interestingest. No, in that case, he's more interesting than his brother, and he's the most interesting of all of his siblings. So just a little review of the basics of comparatives and superlatives. And remember, the 2 most common used adjectives, good and bad, they're irregular. Yeah, he's good. He's better than he was last year. He's the best in his class. Eso es good. Y bad, he's worse than his brother. He's the worst I've ever seen. So, see, not just are there exceptions there, but the 2 most common adjectives ever. So this is más alto. Okay. También es más colocado. If somebody's taking drugs, it also means that as well. So es alto, es colocado, but it's más alto, más colocado. And the second word is contratar. Contratar a alguien. And also contratar in British English, this word also means to alquilar. Okay, in American English, we would say the word rent a car, but they say a different way, and they use this word, the same word as contratar. What are those two words, and do they sound exactly the same or not? You can let me know in the comments. Also, let me give you today's Say What soundbite for the third time.
You know, it's like a weird marriage when you're in a band. You know, there's sometimes when you hate each other's guts and you can't be in the same room together, and other times when you're on stage when it all makes sense and it's like, oh, this is why we do this.
Do you know about Vaughn groups? Well, I'm going to tell you all about them. They are group English classes that you can do via video conference or in person. And the good news is you can start whenever you want. And you can keep the same timetable, teacher, and classmates throughout the whole course. And the best part, there's no strings attached. Sin compromiso. And if you act now, you can get a 5% discount for paying up front. And if you stick with the course for 6 months, you'll get a 50% discount in June. Wow, what a deal! As if you needed more reasons to learn English with Vaughn. Check out our Vaughn groups. Have fun and make friends as you learn English. Sign up now while there are still spots available. Call us 911-385831, or you can go to our website, grupovaughn.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media and find out if Vaughn groups are for you. More information at grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. All right, let's take a look at our homophones. We've got a lot of people participating. The first person to take a stab at it is Laura. And Laura says the two words are and and they sound the same. Ooh, I trust Laura. Do you guys trust her? All right, Born to Iron Man. He shares the same words, but then he's got a different comment here. He says they sound alike in British English. Oh, interesting. So they wouldn't sound the same in America. Interesting. Okay. Tudani says, I think and are homophones. So Tudani's not 100% sure, but thanks for participating anyway, Tudani. That's how you learn. Because I'll tell you something, in about 1 minute, less than a minute, you're going to know if they are or not. You're going to actually repeat them with me, hopefully, so you can clear up that doubt once and for all. Una vez y por todas. And Chris also says the two words, and she says they can be homophones. Elaborate, Chris. Do you mean like Born to Iron Man? Depending on if it's British or American English? I'm curious. All right, well, I'm just going to say the two words, and you tell me. All right? I told him I'm going to hire somebody who's higher up, que está más alto, ¿no? Que tiene más experiencia, que tiene un cargo más alto. So please hire somebody who's higher up. Please hire him because he's a higher up. A higher up is como the management, right? Higher. This guy is higher, más colocado. This guy is higher than our last hire. Y como acabáis de ver, hire también lo usamos como alguien que acabas de contratar. Okay, we had 4 new hires, contratados, no, gente contratada. So do they sound the same? Yes. Now, I'm going to try and imitate it in British English. Hire. I'd like to hire a car. Hire a car. I don't know. I think they say, I don't know, but I guess we have to ask. You guys can ask Rob Grams later on if he would say those words the same. But as far as I know, they do. So I don't know. This is the prices of this hire car are higher than the other ones. Higher. Guys, let me know. Follow up on that, because I've never heard anybody pronounce them differently that I know of. So great job in American English, and everybody I've heard in British English. The words are pronounced the same. And just remember, if you go to Heathrow, as we were talking about Inglés para Viajes, if you go to Heathrow, you hire a car. Lo contratas, que es alquilar para ellos. If you go to JFK, you rent a car. All right, those are today's homophones. Let's take a look over at our spelling bee. As I said, I have some students who have blown my mind over here if they've really gotten it. Let's take a look. The first person to take a stab at it is Born to Iron Man. The first one is correct, sir. The second one is also correct. The third one is correct. The fourth one's correct. The fifth one's correct. And the sixth one is also correct. Wow. Unbelievable job over there. And you know what? It looks like Chris Valrol got it as well. Wow, folks. Excellent job. Very impressive. All right, let's do round 2 of today's spelling bee. This is a round where I think almost any student should be able to follow along. Even if you consider yourself a low-level student, I want you to try. All right? Is everybody ready? The first word is MV space SUMMIT space VENTURE. The second one is LIBERIAN space FREIGHTER. The third one, SUNSHINE space SKYWAY space BRIDGE. The fourth one, TAMPA space BAY. The fifth one is GREYHOUND space BUS. And the sixth one, OSHIMA space SHIPBUILDING. Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughan Town, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughan Town, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to groupovaughan.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughan Town. All right, great job in our spelling bee, amigos. It was not easy today. Lot of letters in there, I should say. The reason I chose all these different things is because today, in the year 1980, I was just 3 years old in Florida. Florida, located in the United States, down south. I was telling you before about when I worked in Orlando, Florida. Well, in 1980, in Florida, in the United States, a Liberian freighter. Now, Liberian is from Liberia, the country, and a freighter is something that moves freight. Now, what is freight? Freight. Freight is cargo. Cargamento, carga. So if it's a freighter, well, that's what it does. It ships freight. So in the state of Florida, this Liberian freighter, which was our second word, called MV Summit Venture. That was the first word. That was the name of the ship, the MV Summit Venture. And there are two good words. I'll go back to my normal accent. There are two good words we can learn there. The word summit, que es cumbre, en ambos sentidos, de un monte y una cumbre, pues, de políticos and all of this, right? Or de negocios. A summit. And the second word is a great word. It's not adventure, it's venture. Because an adventure is una aventura. But a venture is a business, a project, right? So it's a great name, MV Summit Venture. It collided, okay, chocar, to collide, to crash, with the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. This was number 3. Sunshine Skyway Bridge, it's called. This bridge is in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, which is located in Florida. Beautiful area of Florida, by the way. I used to, when I lived down there right around the corner from Disney, I would go down to Tampa a lot. It was a different kind of atmosphere because Tampa is not the Atlantic. It's not the East Coast of Florida. It's the West Coast. Remember, since Florida has a big part that sticks out, well, half of that is in the Atlantic. The other side of it is in the Gulf of Mexico. And then if you go further down south, you're in the Caribbean, really, right? If you go down off the Florida Keys, a beautiful, beautiful area, by the way. So Tampa Bay is very nice because that area, well, you're again near the Gulf of Mexico, which is, even though it's the same state and you can probably get from one coast to the next in under 3 or 4 hours, it's totally different. The sand, the water, even the energy in the air. I highly recommend it. I know the West Coast is not as popular as the East Coast, because if you talk about the East Coast, you talk about Miami, Daytona, you talk about Hollywood or Fort Lauderdale, which are other very, very famous areas. Boca Raton. Yeah, that's how we pronounce it. Boca Raton. Look it up. It's a very wealthy area on the east coast of Florida. Again, this is the Atlantic coast, but this was on the interior side, okay, the side that's in the Gulf of Mexico. And so this was a bridge that was over a waterway. A waterway is any way of saying any body of water, a river, a lake, right? A waterway. I wouldn't say it for a brook, a brook, un riachuelo. Well, yeah, I guess it is. No, but actually, now that I think about it, a waterway, let's see how they translate it. Now I'm curious. Is a waterway something that has to be navigable? Or is a waterway, it can be a canal? Yeah. Okay, no. Un canal, it's ambos, ¿ves? Lo tenía ahí. Canal, un canal, or un río navegable. So maybe, I wouldn't really call a brook or a stream, a brook or a stream es un riachuelo. I wouldn't call either one of those a waterway. When I think of a waterway, I think of a navigable river, or any kind of, it could be a river, or anything like that. A lake can be a waterway that's navigated. So what happened was this freighter collided with this bridge. This happened recently. although it was on it was up north. It wasn't down south, this one. And basically a 1,400-foot section of the span. The span is la envergadura, la distancia del puente. If you didn't know this vocabulary, you should listen to the Brooklyn Bridge episode of FYI, because I talk about this. So 1,400 feet equals around 427 meters. So that's a big span of the bridge. The word span, vamos a buscarlo aquí, porque tiene varios usos. Span, periodo, right? We actually use it a lot when we talk about attention span. Think about it. I'm sure you'll know it in context. Kids these days have a very short attention span. Alto y claro, ¿no? Periodo que puedan prestar atención. Okay? Span, el alcance, the distance from end to end. So when we talk about a bridge, but we also we talk about it like he had a career that spanned 5 decades. Okay, so it's a great word to know if you didn't know it. We have looked at it in FYI, and I'm pretty sure we've looked at it here as well. So that's a big, big section of the bus. And 35 people in 6 cars, 6 vehicles, and a Greyhound bus. Now, that's tragic right there. It's obviously the cars, the vehicles, that's tragic. But a Greyhound bus, those are people who are going on vacation. And the word greyhound, even though it's a kind of dog, if you say in the United States, if you say the word greyhound, you know what you're talking about there? You're talking about a bus. So if you say, I'm going to catch a greyhound, it means I'm going to catch es buses de larga distancia. It's not a local bus. And why? Because Greyhound is the most famous bus line in the United States. So a lot of times, I think you'll even hear it in music. I'm going to catch a greyhound. That doesn't mean voy a pillar un perro, un greyhound. It means me voy a largar de aquí, voy a coger la carretera. I'm going to catch a greyhound. So 5 people who were in 6 cars and a Greyhound bus fell 150 feet to their death. And 150 feet, 1 second, Google will do it for me. 150 feet equals about 46 meters. Very, very sad day. And Laura, thank you. Laura says that happened in Baltimore recently. Yeah, I knew it was up closer to New York, up north in Baltimore. That's right. I can't believe stuff like this is still happening. I mean, come on, guys. Don't we have fail-safes? Do you know this word? A fail-safe is something that's like a backup system. Un respaldo, un plan de respaldo, a fail-safe. You know, a lot of times they'll talk about equipment. This boiler, este calentador de agua, has a fail-safe, okay? And that means un resguardo, un respaldo. It's got like an automatic sensor that if something goes wrong, it'll turn off. Planes, if we talk about aviation, we hear the word fail-safe a lot. Let's see. Chris says he's higher than a Georgia pine. Chris, you're teaching me expressions. If you're talking about estando colocado, the one that I always heard when I was a kid, and I think it's still used to this day, is to be as high as a kite. Tan alto como una cometa. Tan colocado. Oh, vamos, que estoy colocadísimo. I'm as high as a kite. Oh, and it's in a song. I'm as high as a kite. As high, espera, I'm going to find it. As a kite, Elton John. Rocket Man. Which one is it? Rocket Man. Oh, I was right. Let me look for the song Kite in it. Guys, see, you can. Oh, where is the. I'm as high as a kite. Okay, so it goes. She packed my bags last night. Pre-flight 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm going to be high as a kite by then. Estaré colocadísimo para entonces. Folks, we'll be right back with the 4th and final part of today's show, so stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Just a quick reminder, you've only got a few hours left to participate in our question of the week. It's a perfect way to make sure you guys are speaking a little bit every week, expressing your opinion, practicing, not just, listening, but also your speaking. And if you do both of those things, you listen every day, you speak a little bit every day, there's only one outcome. Solo un desenlace. So keep it locked here at Vaughn Radio to learn English all day, every day for free with our app. Also, you can stop by grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados to find out about all our exciting courses that we've got on offer right now. Also, if you're looking for materials to chill out by the pool this summer, you've got Vaughn Tienda, vaughntienda.com, and you can pick up tons of materials. Inglés para viajar. Phrasal verbs que deberías conocer. You can get the translation booklet. That's a way to know if you really know the language inside and out. All right, amigos, welcome back to part 4 of the show with no name. Thank you so much again for joining us here every day and learning and laughing with us. Are you ready for a little challenge? I know you are. Yeah, well, it's a hypothetical question. Are you ready? Well, you're always ready. Do you know what your answer is? If you're an American, I was born ready. Well, great. If you were born ready, then you'll be ready for today's double trouble. Yeah. Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble. That's right, folks. It is Double Trouble here on the show with no name. And this is a part of the show where we look at words with double meanings. Yeah, hey, that could be a really good one. As we just said, the Greyhound. No sé si puedo llevar mi sabueso gris en el autobús de larga distancia. Right? I don't know if I can bring my Greyhound on the Greyhound. Hey, if it'll help you remember it, it's great. And the logo is a Greyhound. And as Chris says, I think I've seen this Greyhound bus in a movie. Chris, I'm sure it's in endless movies. It's a part of our culture. You know what I mean? You see people, I'm going to catch a Greyhound bus. I'm sure there's a playlist out there about Greyhound buses. And I'm not getting paid right now to advertise them. All right, let's see. Also, Chris says, we hit the ground running. Great expression. To hit the ground running es empezar a mil. No tienes que calentar because you hit the ground running. Empiezas en quinta. All right, let's see how you guys do on today's Double Trouble. In fact, I said this word before, but I used it in a different way, so it could be really a triple trouble. Whoa, and whoa. So pay attention. Here it is. El que hace directos en internet decoró la casa con banderines. And as I said, I already used the word. I used it in a different context. So it could have easily been a triple trouble. The good thing is the first usage of the word, I know you use it here in Spain. I mean, I know you use it. It's un anglicismo, as you call it, that you use. So, el que hace directos en internet decoró la casa con banderines. That is your double trouble. You have to use the same word twice. Also, I'm going to give you your Say What soundbite here for the fourth and final time. And I'm seeing this is a difficult one today. All right. Good luck, amigos.
You know, it's like a weird marriage when you're in a band. You know, there's sometimes when you hate each other's guts and you can't be in the same room together, and other times when you're on stage when it all makes sense and it's like, oh, this is why we do this.
Stop making resolutions and start making progress with your English in the new year. We've got something for everyone under the sun. Every level, every age, every budget. Grupo Vaughn has got you covered no matter what you're looking for, whether it be master's courses, group or one-to-one classes, either online or in person. Vaughntown, a true immersion experience. Disney English and Vaughn Jr. for the kids. Oxford Test of English. Camps for kids of all ages. Online courses. And a wealth of other resources at vaughntienda.com. Stop by one of our centers for a free level test or a sample class from one of our top teachers. Why wait? There's no time like the present. Start the year off on the right foot. You can contact us at our website, grupovaughn.com, or give us a call at 911-385831. And make sure you're following us on social media. Let's get going. Pongámonos en marcha. Yes, let's get going with our double trouble. Laura is taking a stab at it. Let's see how she did. Laura says the streamer decorated the house with streamers. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. Also, Chris Valrol as well. The streamer dressed the house. You could say dressed, Chris. It's a little bit more formal, though. I think the most common way would be the streamer decorated the house with streamers. So yeah, streamer is somebody who does a live stream. A stream is un torrente, un riachuelo. Remember, I said the word before. I said the word brook. I said the word stream when we were talking about waterways. Remember? So that's why I said, so we got another meaning of it. A stream es un directo. A streamer es una persona que hace un directo. A stream of consciousness. Alguien que habla lo que piensa, dice lo que piensa. Hey, that's me. So the idea, I don't just want you to know the word stream, because I know you know it, but I want you to get the idea behind it. And a streamer, estos banderines, ¿qué son? Parece un riachuelo. It's like a thin little strip, right? A strip, una tira, and it's extended. So excellent job. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. All right, amigos, we are going to the movies. Name that movie. All right, amigos, let's take a look at today's Name That Movie. Here's the synopsis, short and sweet, and let's see if you recognize the movie. A married couple tries everything to drive each other out of the house in a vicious divorce battle. Oh, Lord. Hey, we were in our Say What soundbite. Didn't it have something to do with marriage? Speaking of our Say What soundbite, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Laura. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Excellent job in the Say What soundbite. And it's a really tough one because it's a very British, very British. And then he speaks very quickly as well. And, that's the way it works. He doesn't open his mouth very much. But Laura got it. She was able to make sense of what this person said. All right. So back to the movie. Anybody? A married couple, una pareja casada, very easy, tries everything. Intentan lo que sea, de todo, to drive each other. Okay, to drive crazy, llevar a alguien a algún sitio, ¿no? To drive each other out of the house in a vicious divorce battle. All right, and we've got a winner over here. Chris Valrol, you got the movie. It's War of the Roses. That's right. The movie is called War of the Roses. It's directed by Danny DeVito. It also stars Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and also Danny DeVito is in it as well. And it's a great movie, I've got to say. Awesome, awesome movie. Oh, and James L. Brooks. Hey, wait a second. James L. Brooks. Didn't we just look at that? The word brook, stream? So is James L. Brooks related to Mel Brooks? I don't think so. I don't think so. But they're awesome. They're both awesome, right? Mel Brooks, Young Frankenstein, Spaceballs, Loca Guerra de la Galaxia. And James L. Brooks, well, The Simpsons. He's one of the co-creators. Also, movies As Good as It Gets. We were talking about that movie before. And, well, he's a guy who has gotten 3 Academy Awards, 21 Emmy Awards as well. And, well, I think one of his most famous ones that he produced and worked on was The War of the Roses in 1989. Excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, I remember loving this movie when it was on HBO. I wasn't old enough to see it when it was in the movies. That was 1989. I think it was, my mom was like, I don't think so. So I had to wait until it came out on HBO. Now, the director, as I said, is Danny DeVito. And initially, the first cut of the film, the first draft, ran 3 hours and 4 minutes. Hey, wait, it sounds like every film these days. They finally cut it down to 1 hour and 56 minutes. That's incredible. They were able to cut off an hour and change of the movie. I wish directors would do that nowadays. Yeah, just remember, guys, put it in context. At this time, 1989, if a movie was 2 hours, it better be damn good. And so, but you can, as you know, movie buffs like Chris and myself, you know, you can always get these deleted scenes, these bonus scenes, outtakes. That's, in fact, one of my favorite things about when I used to get DVDs, the outtakes, the bonus material. So, yeah. What else can we say over here? And you know who else is in this? Dan Castellaneta. Now, do you know who that guy is? You're like, I never heard his name. Well, I'm sure you've seen it if you've watched The Simpsons. He does Homer, the voice of Homer. That's right. And there's that James L. Brooks connection. He was one of the creators. He is one of the creators of The Simpsons. So it's all connected. Let's take a look at the scene, War of the Roses. These are the first lines of the movie. And Gavin is talking to a client. And he says, you have some valid reasons for wanting a divorce. And he blows his nose with a handkerchief. Sonar los mocos. We don't say to sound your mucus. We say blow your nose. Blow your nose. You can ask my daughter. She knows it very well. Although I think she understands blow your nose on my shirt. That's what she does. Or wipe, right? To blow is soplar, and to wipe is solo restregar, right? So she wipes her nose and blows her nose on my shirt, not on a handkerchief. And then Gavin says, excuse me, my sinuses are very sensitive to irritants, my sinuses. And he sprays nasal decongestant up his nostrils. Your nostrils are the holes in your nose, okay? And then Gavin says, in the past 5 months, I think I've breathed freely with both sides working maybe a week total, okay? So he's saying both sides of his lungs. he hasn't been breathing right. He's having breathing problems. He's been sick. But then, of course, he pulls out a pack of cigarettes. Okay, that's not going to help you. And he says, I got to cut this out. Now, I'm going to look at two different things here. To cut it out means to just quit. And to cut down on something, apúntate, esta es muy bueno, reducir, consumo de algo. I'm going to cut down on sugar. I'm going to cut down on snacks. What are you going to cut down on? Don't just write it down, say it. I'm going to cut down on. I need to cut down on, hasta que te vayan junto el cut down on, todo junto, right? Reducir el consumo de algo. So Gavin says, I got to cut this out. It's going to kill me. And then he lights the cigarette. So obviously, he doesn't practice what he preaches. And he goes, I hadn't smoked for 13 years. No había fumado en 13 años. I kept the last cigarette from my last pack. And I said, if I never smoked this one cigarette, I'll never smoke again. Period. 13 years I kept that cigarette. And he fetches, that means va a por, a plastic case, which he pulls out of a drawer, un cajón. And he says, I had this little case, estuche. I had this little case made for it. And he opens it and he shows it to him. And he says, 13 years. And then one Thursday afternoon, Barbara came to see me. And when she left, well, the rest is history. Excellent job, amigos. We're going to move on now to famous birthday trivia. Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. That's right, folks. Famous birthdays. And I love it. Chris says, bravo, Laura. Give me an L for lovely, A for awesome, U for unique, R for riveting, and A for amazing. I second the motion. Now we're just missing magical in the equation. All right, here we go, folks. This first person is magical. If you consider being a very prolific singer, songwriter, performer, as a feat, una hazaña. In fact, he does a show every month at Madison Square Garden, and I went to go see him. He played for 3 hours. Okay, the tickets cost me $200 a pop. A pop is another way of saying a piece. But this guy, I mean, he was born in 1949. He's no spring chicken, but they call him the Piano Man. That's his nickname. Sing me a song, you're the piano man. Sing me a song tonight. But not only because he's the piano man, but because that's one of his most famous songs. But he has got literally hit after hit. Only the good die young. I love that one. Only the good die young. Only the good die young. And he's got Captain Jack. Ooh, that's a great one. That's about Jack Daniels. And we were just talking about high, colocarse. Pues mira, ahí lo tienes. Elton John, as high as a kite. And this guy, he says, Captain Jack will get you high tonight. And I think his most famous song, for people who don't know his collection, his most famous, what is it called? We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. If you haven't heard his greatest hits, you are missing out. An American, a New Yorker, and the Piano Man. Hit after hit. It's still rock and roll to me. He's even got that like 1950s sound as well. And next up, this is an American director, producer, and screenwriter. He worked on The Simpsons. He's also worked on many, many other things, and his last name is Riachuelos. Riachuelos, I said his name moments ago when we were talking about our movie, The War of the Roses, which he also worked on. And last but not least, if you don't like this guy, well, you should try walking in his shoes. You'll stumble in his footsteps. I'm talking about the lead singer of Depeche Mode. Reach out, touch faith on your own personal Jesus. Oh, and by the way, they have a single called Should Be Higher. Ahora tú interprétalo. ¿Debería estar más colocado o más alto? I guess you'll have to take a look at the lyrics. Speaking of, we're going to go to Name That Lyric in just a moment. Does anybody know all three famous birthday boys and girls? Going once, going twice. I'm going to give it to Chris because I imagine she's going to get it. Yep, there she is. Number one is Billy Joel. Number 2, James L. Brooks. And number 3, David Gahan from Depeche Mode. And that brings us to our Say What soundbite. It's Dave Gahan, and he's talking about the ups and downs of being in a band. He says, it's like a weird marriage when you're in a band. There's something when you hate each other's guts. Nos soportáis. And you can't be in the same room together. Dice together. No puedes estar ni en la misma habitación. And other times, when you're on stage and it all makes sense, cuando estás en el escenario y todo encaja, todo tiene sentido. And I say, this is why we do this. Para esos momentos es porque hacemos esto. And you got to remember, their career has spanned decades, para usar la palabra span. Here it is, Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode in your Say What soundbite.
It's like a weird marriage when you're in a band. There's sometimes when you hate each other's guts and you can't be in the same room together, and other times when you're on stage when it all makes sense and it's like, oh, this is why we do this.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name. The show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name. The show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
Great job, everybody. Excellent job today. Really, really great job. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to be here with you. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. So if you haven't sent us your question of the week, now's a good time when we wrap up the show here, right before Ximena's show. Tell us what you daydream about, what you'd rather be doing when you're doing something else. And today's song, as I said, it got me choked up before. It's called Pressure. It's by Billy Joel. And it's a song that I think everybody can identify with because we've all felt pressure. And it's tough to deal with pressure. And the song is awesome because he uses an accordion and he plays it fiercely, feroz. And the song actually feels like pressure. Like he makes the pressure come out in the music, not just his voice. If you haven't heard it, it's a great song. We're going to listen to it now. Let's take a look at the lyrics together. Just Google Pressure by Billy Joel. And he starts out by saying, you have to learn to pace yourself. Dosificarte. Marcar el ritmo. You have to learn to pace yourself. Pressure. Y lo dice así en tema presión. You're just like everybody else. Pressure. You've only had to run so far. So good. But you will come to a place where the only thing you feel are loaded guns in your face, and you'll have to deal with pressure. Thank you, folks. What a tune. Pressure. Thanks again. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow. Pressure.